sabi ko nga po, Your Honor, napatawad ko na po sila. Mahirap na po makipagtalo kay, sorry po, Mr. Villanueva, pero pinaglaban nga namin. Kung pwede nga lang siguro sa Honorable Court na to, ito sa Quadcom, pwede nyo naman po mabasa yung lahat ng ano, kasi yung sinasabi ni Sir Villanueva, na dininay ko si Alex Kim, never po na nag-deny ako sa kanya dahil nga siya yung lessee ng property ko. At nakarecord yan sa court na kami ay may contract of lease. Paano ko sabihin na hindi ko siya kilala? Nagpirmahan kami.
Matagal na kasi yung kaya palagay ko, wala na yung mga records. Ano po?
Palagay ko po, Your Honor, hindi ko na po alam.
Hindi na kayo makakuha ng record para malaman po natin kung talagang sinabi niyong hindi niyo kilala si Alex Kim.
Pwede po, Your Honor. Di ba archive siguro yan? Pero ewan ko lang kasi 20 years ago, parang kahit nga ako yung ibang events, hindi ko na alam po.
Kasi Chair, ano bang magagawa natin dito? Yes. Kung halimbawa, kung makita natin na talagang totoo ang sinasabi ni Mr. Wilkins o totoo yung sinasabi ni Ms. Chen.
Chairman Caraps,
Chairman, before, with the indulgence of Congressman Benny. Anyway, Sir Wilkins, doon sa narration ni Jed, tama po ba na of course, again, you will not remember the exact date, but ito, tandaan ni Jane, noong January 4, 2005, inimbitahan niyo daw si Jane, si Jed, at saka sa opisina niyo.
Hindi ko ma-remember yung date.
Yung date. Pero,
basta
but you confirm.
siya.
But you confirm.
Na ininbitahan siya sa office. Yeah. I don't know the date, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Now, second, is it correct na nag-sign siya ng waiver?
I don't know, Mr. Chair.
Why?
Hindi para sa akin yung Mr. Chair. I have my investigator.
No, but you're the head.
Hindi na usually...
Sir Wilkins. Maglulukuhan ba tayo dito?
No, Mr. Chair. Kasi sa akin, Mr. Chair.
Project mo yon.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Ngayon, kinuha niyo yung subject, yung supposedly suspect, without a warrant. Di ba tama? Without a warrant? Their invitation?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Now, para hindi kayo makasuhan, nag-waive siya. Pumirma ng waiver, tama?
Hindi ko alam, Mr. Chair, kung nag-waiver siya because my investigator, sila yun, Mr. Chair eh. Usually, Mr. Chair, pag head ka ng office...
Mr. Wilkins, ikaw yung head of office, napakalaking project, tapos hindi mo alam, tapos hinayaan mo yung mga tao mo na papirmahin yung subject or yung suspect for a waiver?
Mr. Chair, as head of office, ang in-charge dyan is investigator. I delegate the job sa investigator. Anyway, Mr. Chair, may lawyer sila, Mr. Chair eh.
But in that case, Mr. Wilkins, are you not liable if ever there will be a violation of the rights of because you're just at the head and there is an investigator? Ito, theoretical lang.
Mr. Chair.
Are you not liable? Theoretical lang. Hindi ko sinasabi na he has all the basis of his overclaim.
Usually, Mr. Chair, sa...
Hindi nga. At tinatanong ko, theoretical. Hypothetical. Theoretical. Are you liable or not?
No, Mr. Chair.
Why?
Dahil hindi naman...
But you are the head of the office.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
If illegal activity or whatever violation of law under your office, as the head of office, you are liable, especially in this case. Especially in this case, this is a very big project of your office. Oh, si AC nandito. Ito, si AC, this is not the subject. Are you a lawyer, sir?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, and to all the other members of the
This is the subject for in your invitation, no? Tanungin na kita. In this case, eto, hypothetical lang. If the investigator of Wilkins violates the right of the suspect, is he not liable of any case?
Mr. Chair, there are circumstances that has to be met for the principle of command responsibility to apply to the extent that the principal may be liable. Because, Mr. Chair, as explained by former Executive Director General Villanueva, he mentioned that he delegated the conduct of, if I heard him correctly, the conduct of that operation to his investigation.
No, that is not the conduct of
So-
the operation, the conduct of the investigation,
Conduct
of the interrogation,
Mr. Chair.
of the interrogation.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Pero sa project, nandun siya. Directly being supervised by Mr. Wilkins.
Like
At
I'm-
inamin niya yan. Well, in fact, nagyabang pa siya dito. That is not a project of a Asierto, that is my project. And that's in record. Now, in that case, Attorney,
yes, Mr. Chair.
is he liable?
Again, Mr. Chair, as I mentioned nga po, there are circumstances that would qualify
Corrupt
po.
Paduano.
Ah.
The indulgence na lang, attorney. Ang tanong natin is he liable on the basis of command responsibility?
Mr. Chair, as I am explaining, there should be qualifying circumstances present in a case for a principal to be liable under command responsibility.
There is,
Kailangan
just like what you've said, that he delegated the authority to investigate. Kumonte de Ramos. Hindi na makapagsasabi ngayon, patay na eh. Palagay ko, namatay siya dahil dyan eh.
Mr. Chair,
Pangalawa, walang arrest warrant. Is that a violation too?
Mr. Chair, if I heard the representation of Mr. Villanueva correctly a while ago, the matter is already decided with finality in the Supreme Court. I would not like to comment on the merits thereof as it may violate our duty as lawyer as far as there is already a decision made by the Supreme Court. But again, with regard po doon sa possible accountability, administrative accountability or liability of Mr. Villanueva as the principal or head of the office during the time of that conduct of investigation, it will all depend po dun sa mga attending circumstances. Because as I mentioned, Mr. Chair, one of the requirements is that the principal should know that there is an irregularity or an omission that was committed, and despite knowing of such irregularity or wrong committed by his subordinates, he failed to take corrective actions on the matter. So
The irregularity caused the brokenness of the family actually. Anyway, Miss Jed, nabanggit mo na hanggang ngayon, hindi mo alam kung buhay pa o patay na ang iyong asawa? Hanggang ngayon, hindi mo alam.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Wilkins, alam mo ba na patay na si Alan T?
Mr. Chair, wala siya doon sa laboratory when the time was when we raided the laboratory, Mr. Chair.
So hindi mo rin alam kung buhay
Hindi
siya.
ko alam, Mr. Chair.
Oh, okay. So, ayan. Miss Jed, narinig mo ang sinabi ni Director Wilkins na hindi rin niya alam kung buhay o patay ang asawa mo.
Opo, Your Honor. Actually, kung pwede pa akong magsalita, sabi ko nga, sa 20 years, I was able to accept na God has a purpose. Kung buhay man si Alan C. or patay, gusto ko na sana matahimik na po ito, Your Honor. Kasi nagsuffer na po ako ng 20 years, yung anak ko. Di ba kanina sabi nga ng may decided na may finality na po yung kaso namin. Wala na akong magawa eh. Pero siguro tama yung sinasabi sa Bible na Proverbs 13:23 na for lack of justice there is waste. May waste talaga. Kasi yung buhay namin ng kami, magkapatid. Supposedly, hindi kami nagpapagasto sa gobyerno, sa pagkain, sa rasyon, sa kulungan. Siguro mas productive ko pag nasa labas. Pero sa nangyari, anyway, sabi ko nga, wala na kami magawa. Tapos na eh. 20 years, hindi ganun kadali. Pero with God's grace po, He has a purpose at naging makabuluhan ng buhay ko sa kulungan. At yun ang pinapapasalamat ko. Sa po, bigyan na po ng peace ito kasi parang useless din, Your Honor. Dahil hindi na po maibabalik lahat ng na-damage sa buhay ko.
Salamat po sa inyong attitude. Ilan taon pa po kayo sa kulungan? Ilan taon pa po kayo sa kulungan? Nakawala na ba kayo o ano ba? Ang status nyo ngayon?
Actually po, Your Honor, as far as I know po, I have already served the maximum sentence po. Kasi nga, with the GCTA po, nagpapasalamat po sa Panginoon dahil nga, mayroon yung bagong yata batas. I was able to avail ng GCTA. So from jail, sa tulong ni God, I was able to maintain yung good attitude ko sa jail until sa correctional. And I am even the trustee mula sa jail hanggang sa correctional. At ito ay pinapasalamatan ko dahil it's a privilege. Privilege lang po ito. And siguro nga, sabi ko nga, may purpose si God. At sa ngayon, so sana, I would like to take this opportunity to speak if I may be allowed by this honorable committee na sana po, mabigyan na po ng pansin yung hinihiling ko na kalayaan, pati yung kapatid ko. Kasi 3 years old pa po yung anak ko, mag-23 na. Ang hirap i-explain sa kanya kung bakit hanggang ngayon nandito pa rin kami ng kapatid ko.
Ang iyong kapatid na convict din.
Opo, Your Honor. Nasa Dapicol po siya.
Kumusta na po siya ngayon?
Sa awa ng Diyos nga, Your Honor, both of us,
Wala rin din po siyang kasalanan.
Pareho po kami, Your Honor. I will speak for my brother kasi kilala ko siya.
Kumusta yung anak ninyo ngayon?
Sa ngayon po, masasabi ko siguro sa tulong ni God, I tried to explain to her na God has a purpose. She must be strong. Sabi ko sa kanya, medyo nasaktan lang siya talaga. Dahil nga ito sa nangyari ngayon, bakit naungkat na naman ito? Dahil tapos na nga. Tumahimik na nga yung buhay ko sa 20 years sa kulungan. Bakit ito? Pero siguro, baka ito yung opportunity na sana mapansin na makauwi na rin kami ng kapatid ko. At para na rin kung okay lang po na. Marami po sa mga kasamahan ko sa kulungan na baka kasi itong body na to, I am praying for this body, hindi lang sa yung lawmakers ng Philippines na i-enlighten po kayo kasi ang daming, siguro, yung 20 years ko sa kulungan na nakita ko na baka mabigyan nyo rin ng pansin, lalo na po yung matatanda na namamatay na lang doon, sobra na ng 20 years, hindi pa nakakalaya. Yun lang po sana maano ko na sana hindi lang po ako, mabigyan ng pansin po yung mga nakakulong.
Mr. Wilkins, alam ko po na mahirap din ang inyong kalagayan. Ano po? Pero alam nyo, tulad ng testimony po ni Ms. Jed, kung totoo po yung sinasabi niya, you are guilty of human rights violation. Kung totoo yung sinasabi niya, Mr. Wilkins. Tama ho ba ako?
I don't think so, Mr. Chair.
Sabi ko, kung totoo ang sinasabi niya, you are guilty of human rights violation.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
You are. Correct.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Kung totoo yung sinasabi niya.
Kung totoo,
yes,
you
Mr.
are
Chair.
guilty
Yes,
of
Mr.
human
Chair.
rights violation. Sasabihin ko sa iyo, kung totoo ang sinasabi niya, hindi ka na makakatulog mamayang gabi.
Mr. Chair, 20 years yan, Mr. Chair. Kitang-kita ko sa mga video.
Hindi ko na kinakailangan pang explanation mo, Mr. Wilkins. Mr. Chair, gusto ko naman tanungin po itong, I'm so glad that Ms. Fortune is with us today. Dr. Fortune, ano po, you have done a lot of forensics, no? sa mga biktima po ng extrajudicial killings, no? So we'd like to find out kung ano yung findings niyo po sa kanila.
Good afternoon, Your Honors, Mr. Chair. I have been in practice in the Philippines as a forensic pathologist for almost 30 years. And yes, I have seen time and again these so-called victims of extrajudicial killings. And lately, I have been busy with the victims or the deaths during the war on drugs from 2016 onwards. I have seen some autopsies, and I am now in the process of examining skeletal remains as well. I have seen other deaths involving, that's it, allegations of drug use even before 2016. I'm still seeing victims of activists, red tag, people, environmentalists, allegedly killed by the military as well. So I have seen
Dr. Fortune, how many victims have you autopsied so far as the war on drugs is concerned?
autopsied. This was 2016 to 2019. I saw about 30 cases.
30.
Exhumations, 2016 onwards, we have been exhuming because it's been 5 years. And they were buried in public cemeteries, and the families could not afford extending the lease. I have been doing this with AJ Kalinga Foundation through Father Flavi, and some other parties have approached me. So in total, I have seen 114 exhumed cases.
Dr. Fortune, in all of those that you have autopsied, ano po ang findings nyo? For example, like they have been killed. Nanlaban po ba sila o they were just killed without even, lumaban o talagang nanlaban?
In all of these cases, the best is you do homicide investigation, which is basic, which generally had not been done in the shootings. You would want to, what we call, reconstruct the shooting. What is the body saying, the victim, the dead victim, the other evidence, the scene, versus, as you say, what are the allegations of those who are living, those who did the killing. And in many situations, I am not able to do this because I just see the body already embalmed, sometimes examined, autopsied, with very little crime scene information. I don't have the clothes, I don't have the bullets, although some I have seen. In other words, I am not able to work with a team, which is how it should be. But in answer to your question, nanlaban ba sila o hindi, sometimes it is obvious that these people are restrained. So there are marks of restraint.
What do you mean restrained, Dr. Fortune?
They are cuffed. Okay? That's one. And this...
Were they tortured first before they were killed?
The word torture implies that they were made to suffer before they were killed. We don't necessarily use that in our final determination, but well, I have seen some with injuries that were apparently before they were killed, but this is a case very memorable to me, but not necessarily involving drugs. This was Mr. Randall Echanis. So, but the issue again of did they fight back, and therefore they had to be shot. That is very common statement of police. In fact, there seems to be a template of how they had to fight back. But if you look at police procedures in other countries, the police are not supposed to kill. And if they do, there should be a very science-oriented, objective, independent investigation, which doesn't happen